Hi cooking cronies, hope you're having a great day. I sure am. I'm preparing a new recipe that I got from the PBS channel, and it's the America's Test Kitchen, and it's called pasta with burst cherry tomato sauce. So I'm giving it a try here, first time with you all. It looked delicious. I hope mine is as delicious as theirs looked. So I had a comment from one of my videos from a subscriber that said I move around too much. So I have prepared everything in advance. So what this recipe calls for is 1 or 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 2 cloves of garlic sliced thin, 1 anchovy chopped fine, 2 pounds of cherry tomatoes, washed only. You're not going to slice them or anything. 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 4 teaspoons of sugar, 1/4 of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, and we're going to cook this for 10 minutes. But the key with this is that you're going to start your saucepan, and I'm using a large saucepan. You're going to start it off the fire. So I'm going to add my first 3 ingredients, which is the extra virgin olive oil, the sliced garlic, and the anchovies, and I'm going to start sauteing that. Okay, so I'm going to add my extra virgin olive oil to my saucepan, and you can see I'm using a large one because 2 pounds of tomatoes seemed like too much for the saucepan that I was going to use, so I did pull out my bigger saucepan. All right, getting all the olive oil out of there. Sliced garlic and the anchovies. And I'm not going to tell my husband this has anchovies because he's not an anchovy fan, nor am I, but you know it's a recipe and I'm going to try it. And so here we go. So I'm going to put this on medium heat and let this cook until it until the garlic gets a little brown. I can hear it sizzling, so that's good. Just wanted to show you the pasta that I'm using today is the Italian cavatappi. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It says to go ahead and start your water when you start this recipe because everything will cook at the same time. So I'm going by what they say. So I've got my water on. I have, you can hear the anchovies kind of sizzling. They were in oil, and I did pat them dry, so hopefully all is well. Okay. So as that starts to brown, I have pre-washed everything, so my tomatoes are ready to go. I'm going to add my salt as this starts to cook just a little bit more. I've got my salt, and I put the chili powder, or the chili peppers in there, chili flakes. So I'm going to add that in. This helps to dehydrate things a little bit. Gosh, this smells really good. You can smell that garlic. This looks good. I'm going to add the sugar and get that mixed well. And now I can see that it's starting to, the garlic is starting to brown, so I'm going to add the tomatoes. And you don't cut them or anything. You just leave them whole and add them to the sauce. I'm going to turn it down to low and just let it cook. It says about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to let that go. I'm going to cover it just to keep some steam there. Before the water comes to a boil, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of salt to my water and then cover it back. Stir it just a little bit. Just to move that salt around. And cover it and let it come to a boil. Okay, the tomatoes are going. It says just leave them alone. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give them one stir, and then I'm going to leave them alone. And I have the timer set for 10 minutes. And there you should be breaking open then and ready for the sauce. So meanwhile, I'm going to start preparing the topping for this. I put the pasta on to cook for 8 minutes because I just want it al dente. The tomatoes are still cooking. They look wonderful. They are starting to burst, so I'm just going to leave them alone as the recipe says. And then I'm going to start the topping for this. So I'm still preparing. I want to get everything prepared, so we're just adding it and we're ready to go. Okay, my pasta is done, so I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to drain it. I will drain it, but I'm going to save a half a cup of water just in case the sauce is needs some thinning out. So drain it. Okay. So meanwhile, for the topping, I'm going to turn my skillet on here. I'm going to add, I will add, well, let me give you the recipe here, or the ingredients here for the topping, and it calls for 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 1 anchovy finely chopped, 1/4 cup of capers rinsed and patted dry. So that's what I'm going to start in my pan. Oh, okay, so here's my oil with my anchovies in it. We're going to get that going along with the capers. I've never cooked with capers, so I've never tasted them, I don't think, either, so this is going to be a new recipe for us. So we're going to start this off in the skillet. And once that starts to cook, I'm going to let it cook for about 3 minutes, and I'm just going to keep mixing it. You can hear it cooking, because we're just kind of cooking the anchovies here. Okay, so it's going to cook for 3 minutes. Okay, while that's cooking, I am going to, I put the pasta back into the pan, and I'm going to pour the tomatoes into the pasta and mix it well. Okay, this is poured. These have burst really nicely. It's just beautiful. Gosh, what a beautiful dish. This would be good for those of you that plant tomatoes in your garden. Fresh tomatoes. Okay, so I'm going to mix this really well. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter to this. I'll cut it up a little bit, just a little. Melt a little easier than just throwing in a chunk. Okay. All right. Now with the topping, I'm going to add, I will add the panko, a half a cup of panko. So we're going to brown that. Gosh, if you could just be in my kitchen and smell all of this. It is divine. I think you can see that really well. I'm going to add some salt and pepper. browning really nicely. Yeah, my dryer's calling me, but it's going to have to wait. All right, I'm going to continue to stir this, make sure the butter is melted. I'm going to add a little bit of that pasta water, just because I want it to be saucy. Okay. Ah, look at that. Panko crumbs are just cooking up really nicely. While that's still browning, I am going to I'm going to tear up some fresh basil leaves. I'm not going to chop them, I'm just going to tear them. Get those mixed in there really well. Give this a little stir. Okay, this is done, so I'm going to turn it off. This is really an easy recipe. Okay, so I'm going to plate it, and when I serve this, I'm going to not plate it, I'm going to put it into a serving bowl. Okay, if this topping isn't your thing, you can just use Parmesan cheese. But since it's a new recipe, I wanted to try it just the way that they did it. And then the next time, if I don't like it, I will alter it to suit my taste. So I'm pouring this into a beautiful serving bowl. Oh gosh, it smells delicious. Look at that. Let's see, can you see this? Look at that, beautiful. Last of all, I'm going to sprinkle this topping over it. I'm going to save some in this pan so that when I do plate it, I can sprinkle it on the dish. And then I'm going to put some fresh lemon zest. Again, I will save some for the dish itself. So this is the new recipe from America's Test Kitchen. It's called Pasta with Burst Cherry Tomato Sauce. And you can see the tomatoes did burst in there. So let's give it a test, a taste test. I'll serve some in a bowl here. And I'll add a little bit more topping, just a little. Some parsley. I'll put some parsley in the bowl too. It's 1/4 cup of fresh parsley, just to liven it up here. Put it all in there. Mike won't care if it's put on his plate before or after. And then in my plate, just a little zest of lemon, and I'll give it a taste. Okay, so let's see what this beautiful dish tastes like. Delicious. I hope you give this a try. You can add Parmesan cheese to this if you'd like, but boy, it's just tasty just like this. So from my home to yours, I hope you give this a try. Cooking Cronies, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. I love your comments, and thank you for being a part of my recipe. God bless.